figures will be made public by the 30th. The 150 million kina exercise was marred by delays, with many centers having to postpone counting of the populace. Much of the delay was field gear and census materials, including tablets, reaching census coordinators and their teams, further delaying the training for enumerators. This led to the government extending the census beyond its initial due date of June 30th, 2024. Meantime, the minister also stated that adverse weather conditions and logistical challenges posed by the country's vast geographical setting of rural communities is another hurdle being tackled as work continues in counting every Papua New Guinean. Deputy Commissioner of Police for Specialist Operations Donald Yamasombi, who was the second witness into the Commission of Inquiry into Royal PNG Constabulary January 10th civil unrest, was tasked by the inquiry to differentiate the behavior and conduct of police officers in the past and those of today with regards to respecting senior-ranked members of the forces.
The Commission of Inquiring into the RPNGC January 10th civil unrest, chaired by Commissioner Elenas Batari and led by former public prosecutor Pondros Kaluwin, tasked the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Specialist Operations Donald Yamasombi to compare the behavior of police officers in his time to the police officers today, especially their conduct in terms of respecting senior-ranked members of the force. Yamasombi began his police career as a cadet officer in 1996.
Has there been any change, any laxity in acknowledging ranks, or as you found in 1996 as a very young officer being saluted by other ranks lower than yours, and who've been in the force for a long time with a lot of respect?
From my experience and the training that we took, I believe part of that training incorporated what we call 3 C's. Yeah. The 3 C's stands for command, control, and coordination. That in itself was taught in a way that we have to acknowledge those in command, and those in command in turn ensure that those under them, including himself or herself, acknowledge others that were senior in rank.
Yamasombi further explained that one of the core functions of discipline taught during cadet training are the 3 C's: command, control, and coordinate. He was asked to explain if this is still practiced today.
Expect, or would any member of the public expect the same today? The acknowledgement of ranks, control, coordination of rank and file, for example.
It's in existence. There may be isolated incidences, if I may think where you're coming from, sir. I believe the command, control, and coordination aspect of policing, or in us dispensing that authority, is still in effect.
Yamasombi said despite public criticism, the 3 C's is being applied by the police personnel. Carol Kiri Jr., TVWAN News.
Over the last 2 days, the 2024 Business Regulator Summit was the hub of various dialogue on how better regulators and businesses can collaborate to create and better seamless operations that foster greater outcomes for each respectively. Secretary for the Department of Information and Communication Technology, Stephen Matainaho, informed the summit on domestic reform priorities and programs, specifically on the government's ICT policy and e-commerce.
Because what's going to happen is now, for example, banks, finance companies, once we get fully compliant on the digital eKYC, I would like to see, and we all would like to see, that no more paperwork when you go to open an account. Financial inclusion, we have a SEFI SEFI financial inclusion strategy, for 2023 to 2027. I believe it's over 50 to 60% target of financial inclusion. Now, with this wallet and with this ID, I should be able to go to the bank. I should be able to just show a QR code, scan it, account open. It should be done 3 minutes. I should be able to, if I want to access a loan, I don't need to show my payslip. The portal would be able to download your payslip into the wallet. You have your ID there. You just go and you scan, and you get your loan in seconds.
The Office of the Public Trustee of Papua New Guinea has sought funding support from the Minister for Justice, Pilar Niningi, and department heads in the Department of Justice and Attorney General to secure land titles for DJEG staff and lawyers who will be occupying land portion 86 at Bomana in the nation's capital.
As part of its job to secure and manage property or assets for a deceased person, the Office of the Public Trustee has secured land portion 86 at Bomana for the lawyers and the DJEG officials to build their houses. The land belonging to the deceased Tom Otis is currently vacant as the deceased has no legal caretaker of the land. Therefore, the organization has taken the land portion to court and has met all legal requirements to secure the land, which they issued to the DJEG. The acting public trustee, Jacob Popuna, said since 2013, they have been working internally to secure the land for lawyers. Popuna said portion 86 will be divided into 103 allotments. Therefore, 103 titles will be issued to each occupant. Secretary for Justice and Attorney General Dr. Eric Kwa said this investment will go a long way in supporting lawyers and DJEG staff in that being properly housed, they can focus delivering law and justice services.
Our department is that because we are a state agency, and this is now been given to us as a state agency, we need you to help us to secure the title.
Kwa clarified that each allotment will be paid for by its occupant. It is not for free.
No free handout. You pay for it, and you get it, and the money goes back to the state.
Minister for Justice Pilar Niningi fully supports this initiative.
And we wanted to make sure that if I have a chance, house 1,000 plus staff we have here all over the country, all of them must be housed. It's not only in Port Moresby, but elsewhere too.
Carol Kidu Jr., TV1 News.
A 3-day Bible Translator Summit began today at the Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Medan Province. Hosting over 60 participants from Port Moresby, Isipik, Morobe, Medan, and Milimbe. Facilitated by Battle Inc., Bible Association of Translation, Training and Literacy Education, and international partners, they have come together in Medan to see how they can bring forth the word of the Lord into rural communities in Papua New Guinea in their own languages. Battle Inc. Director Yara Maka said their work involves close consultations and training churches and communities from multiple denominations in translating the Word of God into Tok Pisin or other languages.
We have the most number of languages a country has. It's the most linguistically diverse. So we're saying that it's 860, but each of those 860 languages have at least an average of about 3 to 4 variants. So a lot. And if this generation doesn't do anything, a lot of our languages will go into extinction.
The West New Britain chapter of the PNG Australia Alumni Association was recently launched in Kimbe, marking it the 13th province to join the network. Provincial Administrator Leo Mapmani welcomed the development, highlighting the long-standing history of the association and the benefits of West New Britain's inclusion. He expressed gratitude to the Australian government and its High Commission for their role in establishing the new chapter and affirmed the provincial administration's support. Australian Minister Councillor for Education and Leadership Laura Marsden attended the event on behalf of the Australian High Commissioner. Marsden praised the presence of alumni who had studied both in Australia and through PNG Scholarship and Short Course Awards.
This is the foundation of the PNG Australia partnership. It rests on genuine, historical and deeply embedded people-to-people links and friendships where we each bring our own experiences to the table for the benefit of both sides. And the PNG TVWAN really epitomises that partnership.
In regional news, there has been hailed as a transformation capability of the Australian Air Force long-range, high-altitude surveillance drones that will scan the seas around Australia. Today, the Federal Defence Minister was at Tyndall RAAF base to mark the arrival of the first Triton, with several more on the way.
A new eye in the sky, with no one on board.
The Tritons are the largest uncrewed aircraft in the world today, and this will be one of 4 aircraft that we acquire as part of a transformational capability for our Air Force.
With its 40-metre wingspan and more than 24-hour flight time, this high-altitude aircraft will scan the sea around Australia for potential adversaries, from their top-end base in Tyndall, but piloted by operators in South Australia.
This will provide an incredibly important and persistent layer of intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance.
Australia is acquiring the drones in partnership with the US Navy, which recently slashed its order of Tritons in half. But the Defence Minister insists that these long-range drones are exactly what Australia needs.
We need to have the longest range, persistent surveillance capability possible, given the vast areas that we need to surveil in order to keep our nation safe.
But not everyone is convinced.
They're an extraordinarily expensive, ultra-luxury drone that we can't afford to lose or replace.
Budget documents show $2.4 billion has been set aside for the first 3 Triton drones. The government's already agreed to buy a 4th, with a further 2 still being considered.
There are much cheaper long-range surveillance drones. The job that the Triton does is able to be done in lots of ways.
This first Triton will start test flights later this year, with another 2 due to arrive in 2025.
And that ends our news update. Do join us at 6 tonight for more news and sport.